All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to class this morning. Let's get started from either seated or lying down on your back. You may want to see that you have some extra blankets, pillows, yoga blocks, just anything around you that you feel could create more comfort during the practice today. We have been using yoga blocks during the standing balancing portion of the class. So you could have a few yoga blocks, or you could even have a chair nearby to provide a little bit more means of support. From wherever you are, let's take a moment to notice the sensations in the hips and the low back. If we're seated, we may want to shift a little bit left and right. Notice the energy in the hips. We can still shift or rock into the lower back, into the sacrum and the tailbone region, left and right if we're lying down. So just take a moment as you rock a little bit. And notice when the sensations feel a little more shifted into the left side of the body, and maybe hold it there. You could even close your eyes and breathe down into the left side of the body where we have the energy shifted just a little bit more than other parts of the body. When you're ready, move through the center of the sensation or the center of the body, shift over to the right. And as we hold it over to the right, just feel the energy of that right hip and in the low back being pulled down and in towards the earth. Breathe into that place where the sensations are shifted the most. When you're ready, shift through center and shift just a little bit left and right again, staying aware of when the energy seems just a little bit more to the left and then a little bit more to the right. And noticing that somewhere in that shift from left to right, at some point, the body might perceive a feeling of being completely balanced. So we might physically have a little twist or a little shift in the hip, a little bit more to one side, but notice what you feel to be balanced for your body. And eventually come to a point in the hips, whether we're seated or lying down, where you feel completely balanced in the way that you're interpreting the sensations through the hips and through the low back. Let's just hold it here at that still point. Feel the spine lengthening. If you're seated, it's the crown of the head lengthening to the sky. And from lying down, we might even kind of walk the shoulder blades back towards the floor a little more, flattening out the shoulders. We might even pull the belly forward, away from the floor or up and lengthen through the spine. No matter where we are, the chin is down just a little bit so that the energy of the throat is very soft. It might even feel like a very soft stretch on the back of the neck or just at the base of the skull. Let's relax the eyebrows, the sides of the temples, and even feeling as if we're able to relax the inner ear to the jaw. Perhaps even noticing a sense of relaxation in the pockets of the cheeks. So the back molars to the inside fleshy part of the cheeks, relaxing that space, relaxing the back of the tongue, the middle tongue, the tip of the tongue, the bridge of the nose, and allowing that sense of ease and relaxation to move through the center of the throat to the center of the chest, to the center of the belly. And then once again, returning awareness to the anchoring of the hips. Let's notice where the breath is in the body. And from that awareness, shaping the breath from the belly through the ribs to the heart, 3-part breathing. Allowing the breath to expand out to the side body through the entire trunk of the body. The breath begins low in the belly, the low back, and the hips, and then it fills through the ribs, up to the heart and under the armpits. As we exhale, we soften the heart, then the ribs, then the belly. We're rolling the breath through the body, just feeling a wave of energy that is filling and beginning to create more opening, more space through the lungs and through the trunk of the body. Now we can continue to breathe easy like this, 3-part breath, or we may want to add in a small pause after the exhale to practice a special contraction in the pelvis. This special contraction is called Mulabanda. It's used to strengthen the pelvic floor muscles, which can provide more support to the spine and the low back. If you think about your own home that you live in and think about the base of support, the floor, the cement slab, and then all of the walls and the furniture that fill in that space, and all the weight is going on the foundation of your home. This is comparative to the muscles in the pelvis. So we're going to do a specific contraction and we pace it with the breath to promote healthy blood pressure as well. So when you're ready, take in a big breath through your nose if possible. Exhale from the throat, relax the jaw. Pause, pull the muscles up through the pelvis. So you might be squeezing the urethral region, the same muscles that are used to stop urination, pulling those muscles up, and even a little bit of a sphincter squeeze. So pulling up through the buttocks region as well. And then there is a space between the buttocks and between that urethral region that you pull up from. It's called the perineum area. That's the proper anatomical term. So you're going to pull up all those places, pull them in and up towards the center of the belly button. While you're here, inhale, exhale, relax all of those muscles. Just continue to relax the pelvis. Take in one easy breath. And now exhale all the way. Pause, pull all the muscles up in the pelvis, urethral, buttocks, perineum. Inhale with those muscles engaged. Keep them engaged, exhale. Relax all of the muscles, one easy breath. Exhale, all muscles contract. Pause, inhale. Keep those muscles contracted, exhale. Release the muscles, inhale, exhale. So the rhythm is to inhale, exhale, completely relaxed. And then contract the muscles, inhale, exhale. Release, inhale, exhale. Contract, inhale, exhale. So we're alternating each cycle of breath with a pelvic floor contraction. Let's try this maybe 3 or 4 more times. It'll take about another minute, and this is retraining the muscles in the pelvis. So again, it's contract, inhale, exhale. And then release, inhale, exhale. Maybe just a couple more easy breaths, and absolutely no rush with this. So taking our time to really notice the muscles fully contracted in the pelvic floor, the front of the pelvis muscles, the back by the buttocks region, the center of those energies pulling up towards the belly button. After you release this next contraction, simply breathe easy. If you are in a seated position, let's go ahead and lie down on our backs. We may want to roll to the side first, and then come around to lying on our backs. You can put something underneath your head or neck for comfort at this point. When you're ready, reach the arms up and overhead. Let's look straight up towards the ceiling, reaching dynamically through the fingertips. You may even want to stretch out just one leg at a time. So maybe just the left leg, flexing the foot, keeping the knee bent, lowering that leg down to the floor for a single big stretch. Grab a hold of your right wrist and pull up through that armpit and wrist region. So we have a big stretch that goes all the way from the lower left hip up into the right armpit. One big inhale. And then exhale, slowly take that tension out of the right arm. Let's bend the left knee, lowering the left foot to the floor. When you're ready, let's lift the right leg, looking straight up at the ceiling, flattening that right foot, keeping a small bend in the right knee. We'll slowly lower that right leg down towards the floor. Hold on to the left wrist and then pull up and out of that left armpit. It might even feel like a little bit of a side bend towards the right. We're stretching from that front of the right hip across the navel up to the left armpit. Let's take in a big breath to the upper left lung. When you're ready, slowly release any tension in the upper body. Let's deepen that bend in our right knee, bringing both feet onto the floor, both knees bent. Let the knees sway a little bit left and right. Let's stretch the outer hips and loosen the low back. One more time to each side. When it feels even on left and right, draw the knees towards the chest and hold on behind the thighs or behind the knees. Point and flex the feet. Roll the ankles out. We're inviting some healthy circulation into the feet, the ankles, and the lower legs. Wiggle the toes. When you're ready, let's see the knees are at the width of the hips. That could be interpreted as the width of the actual bone hip or the width of the fleshy hip. From wherever you are at hip's width, lower the feet, keeping the knees bent. Let's place our hands down on the floor, palms down. Inhale, pull back through the heels, and then lift up through the hips into bridge. As we exhale, we'll lower the hips and reach the arms up overhead, maybe even palms up and knuckles on the floor behind us. When you're ready, pull back through the heels. Inhale, lifting the hips, lowering our hands down onto the floor, palms down. Exhale, hips come down and arms go overhead. Inhale, hips come up, hands press down. Exhale, hips come down, arms floating overhead. Let's do maybe one more set like this, following your own breath. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling from the throat. We could keep the lips together and retain a little bit of heat in the body. With the hips down, let's bring our left knee towards the chest. Wrap both hands behind the left thigh. Option to lift the head towards the knee. Relax down. Inhale, switch. Head to knee. Inhale, relax. Let's continue to alternate, contracting as we draw the knee in towards the chest. Provide the head and neck a little bit of support. If you're noticing any pain at all, any tension or distracting sensations, use a hand for support. Let's do one more on each side, activating the core energy in the body. When you're ready, draw both knees in. Let's reset the hips. Option to bring the head towards both the knees. Holding there for just 2 more easy breaths. Let's relax the head and the feet. Roll over onto one side just for a moment. Draw the knees in tight. Curl up like a little ball lying on your side and give the backs of the lungs a little bit of time to receive the breath. Let's breathe down into the low back, through the middle back, and then across the shoulder blades. A couple more easy breaths like this. We're just gently allowing the lungs to expand with the breath, pushing against the kidneys, pushing against the adrenal glands and massaging along the spine. One more easy breath like this. Let's notice where our top arm is, placing that hand down on the floor. Push down into the earth to slowly rise up and come around into all fours position. If you have a yoga mat or even maybe a rolled up blanket, let's put it underneath the wrist and let the fingers curl gently for the next few postures. We're going to create a foundation where we eliminate as much pressure as possible on the wrist and the hands. Come down onto the elbows at any time if there's pain in the hands or wrist. As we inhale, let's come into cow pose, dropping the belly and lengthening through the heart and sternum. And if you bend your elbows here, the elbows might go out to the side. Draw the elbows back and in. So you're going to tighten up under the armpit area. Imagine you're trying to hold a clutch or just something small, even a pencil under the armpit. You'd want to pull that energy in to secure it by the ribs. From here, exhale, round the spine, drop the head, shake it yes, and turn it left and right. Let's bend the elbows just a little bit. Again, pull the elbows in, dropping the belly, inhale. Exhale, straightening the arms, rounding the spine. So it's a little bit of what I like to call a crouching cow. So we're going to bend a little bit. Inhale into cow pose, straightening the arms, draw the energy up through the heart, then round the spine. Let's match this movement with the breath. So every inhale inspires and initiates that transition into cow. And as we notice the exhale, then we straighten the arms and begin to round the spine, feeling the stretch between the shoulder blades behind the heart. Just one more cycle through this. Inhale, crouching down. Exhale, straightening and rounding. Let's hold in cat pose. Inhale into that space between the shoulder blades and behind the heart. When you're ready, find neutral spine. From here, let's extend our left leg straight back with a flat foot and maybe lower the heel in alignment with your hip, maybe even a little lower to the floor. We could even deepen the bend in our knee to take some tension out of the low back. Let's shift our weight into the left hand. And when you're ready, look down at the mat while extending the right fingertips forward, as if you're going to shake someone's hand only at shoulder height. Push back through the heel and reach through the fingertips, stretching from the inside of the left hip to the right armpit. Inhale, reach and press. Exhale, let's lower the limbs. Taking our time, we'll extend the right leg straight back, foot is flat. Maybe even this time with the leg low, rotate that right toe in. So we're activating some of those muscles that are on the inner thigh. You could even try squeezing the pelvic floor like we practiced in the beginning. Let's take our weight into the right hand, looking down, neck is neutral. Reaching with the left hand. Simultaneously pressing back while we reach, opening the front of the right hip through the belly to the left armpit. Inhale, extending. Exhale, let's slowly lower the limbs. From here, when you're ready, let's press the hips back for child's pose. And you might notice that it's more comfortable to tuck the toes towards each other and maybe open the knees so that the belly and ribs can rest forward. You could always keep the hips slightly lifted. Sometimes we call this a puppy dog expression. It's a little more playful to have the hips up. Allow your body to choose the place where there is the most comfort. So if you've never lifted the hips and maybe brought the body forward, maybe try it that way today. Even if your hips can touch your heels, trying something different so that the body has an opportunity to experience new physical sensations. And maybe those new physical sensations, create so much physical comfort that also extends out to various energetic and emotional pieces of comfort as well. Let's find the breath. When you're ready, slowly come up. Let's find all fours. And let's take our time to step one leg forward into a kneeling lunge. When you're ready, maybe one hand onto a thigh or onto a chair or onto a wall. Let's tuck our back toe, bringing both feet forward. Our hands might be on the shins for support, or we could walk the hands up onto our thighs. Let's stop wherever we are in a supported forward fold and let the hips sway a little bit left and right. Notice the energy shifting in the soles of the feet. Notice that the edges of the feet might peel up just a little bit. This is really natural as we shift to feel the edges of the feet peeling up. When you're ready, come to a still point and let's slowly come up into standing, walking the palms up and then rolling the shoulders down and back. Let's find a strong expression of mountain pose for our bodies today. From mountain pose, let's find the breath. Inhaling the arms up and overhead, big breath in. And then exhale, sweep them back and around. Let's gently engage the muscles in the back and along the sides of the spine, flying the arms, reaching back, exaggerating that circling motion with the arms. So we engage the muscles in the back of the body while we stretch the muscles that lie over the heart. Let's try two more like this. Option to close the eyes, reminding ourselves to let go of any judgment, any expectation, any competition with the body. As long as we're breathing, we're doing yoga. Let's do just one more flying action with the arms. Inhaling up and overhead, exhaling into mountain. From mountain pose, let's step the left foot back, one very casual stride, taking a bend in that right knee. Inhaling the arms overhead into warrior one. Option to look up just for a moment, opening up the energy of the throat, maybe even stimulating through the thyroid region. Let's cup the hands as if we're holding on to a bowling ball. Imagine it's a 10 or 15-pound bowling ball. So that weight energetically creates a little bit of dynamic tension. And we're pressing overhead, pulling up out of the belly and the ribs. Navel is in and up under the ribs, strong core engagement. One more big inhale. Exhale, swan dive, both hands onto the right thigh. Let's turn our left fingertips towards the right and drop that left shoulder a little bit. Taking our right fingertips to the low back, continuing to lunge forward, straightening back through that left leg, push down into the left heel. When you're ready, inhale, twisting to the right, maybe even looking over the right shoulder just for a moment. Let's notice the path of least resistance for the breath. It could be in the front right chest. It could be under the left shoulder blade. Keeping the breath in the upper part of the lungs. One more big breath. Exhale, let's come around to center, straightening that right leg. Feeling as if the left hip is slightly twisting forward. The hips might be level, or there could be just a little bit of a drop or lift in that left hip. So we're going to allow that left hip to have a little bit of play in it. From wherever you are, let's walk the hands onto that right shin, and then drop your head for a moment. Shake the head, yes. Turn it left and right. Exhale with a ha breath. Inhale. Big exhale. When you're ready, bend the right knee. Let's walk the hands up onto that right thigh. And now come up into standing. Let's step to the top of our mat. Establish that strong mountain stance for the body. Web out the toes, feet are at hips width. 3 flying breaths to reset the nervous system. Big inhale. Exhale, sweep it back. Option to close the eyes. Reach from the armpits to the fingertips. Let's meet in our strong mountain expression. When you're ready, stepping the right foot back a short stride, bending through that left knee. Inhaling the arms up and overhead. Strong warrior one, imagining we're holding on to a bowling ball, dynamically reaching overhead. Continuing to lunge forward, even now feeling the right hip pulling just a little bit forward. So if you were to imagine that you had lights on your hips, lights that go forward, we want those lights to be like headlights on a car, so they're fixed straight ahead. You don't want to have one light off to the side and one light forward. So feeling like the hips, the energy tracks straight forward energetically. When you're ready, exhale, swan dive the hands down onto the left leg. Let's hold them on the left thigh. Flattening through the back, maybe a little bit like cow pose. Push the hips back. Keeping a bend in that left knee, we're pressing down and back into the right heel. Let's take our left hand to the low back. And as we inhale, we're twisting towards the left, drawing that left shoulder back, leading with the right ribs, leading with the right heart. Looking over the left shoulder, drawing a couple easy breaths here. Notice, where is the breath going, all on its own. Is it in the front left chest? Or maybe it's in the back right shoulder blade? And just noticing, remembering that we're letting go of judgment. There's no right or wrong way for the body to receive the breath. One more inhale. Exhale, bring it around to center. From here, straightening that left leg a little bit. If you're noticing any pain in the hip, sciatic nerve, or low back, keep that healthy bend in your knee. Let's feel that the right hip is dropping down just a tiny bit. Then walk the hands down. It could be at the shin. The hands might be on the floor or even on a yoga block. Let's shake the head, yes. Turn it left and right. Ha, breath on an exhale. Release that energy from the throat. When you're ready, let's bend that left knee and walk the hands up. From here, slowly coming up, warrior one stance, hands relaxed. Stepping into mountain. Feet are at hips width, toes are nice and spread. 3 big breaths. Inhale, reach. From the armpits, circle back. Armpits and shoulders initiate the movement. Inhale, reaching up. Option to look up, stretch the throat. Exhale back, looking down. One more time, flowing with the arms. Let's stop with the hands at the hips. So let's experiment today with a very conservative expression of triangle pose. And we're going to do it a little different so that the larger muscles in the body don't dominate the practice. And Sometimes we use the larger muscles and we only feel these big sensations. Let's dig into some of the tiniest bits of sensation and let's keep some of the tiniest muscles active that help stabilize the hips and spine. To do this, only step the feet out to the width of your yoga mat. So not the length of the mat, just the width of the mat. And we'll see that the edges of our feet are going to line up with the edges of our mat. Now lift up just your left toes and pivot at the heel. We're going to lift up just our left toes, pivot on the heel, and rotate the toes off of your mat so that you have your right toes forward and your left toes out to the side. Let's bend that left knee, sway back into the right hip a little bit. So your tailbone is going to tilt back towards your right heel. Let's take our left elbow onto the left thigh. If that is creating a lot of invasive or intense sensations, prop the hand on the leg and prop up the spine a little bit. So the lower we go, the more it's going to pull from the outside of that right foot up into the low back. And so if there's any existing sciatica, piriformis issues, or even SI joint issues, you might want to come up. No matter where you are, let's start to straighten that left leg just a little bit. Now this could create a little more sensation in that right hip. In order for us to moderate that energy, we just bend and straighten a little bit and notice, where does it feel just right? So sometimes it's the Goldilocks effect in yoga. There could be a little too much, there could be not enough. So move around a little bit in that space and kind of gauge for your body, where does it feel just right? When you're ready, if you want, take that top arm up and overhead, maybe even lengthening the arm over the ear into our expression of a triangle or a side angle pose. You can look up. It's very traditional. Also, it's the most strain on the neck. You could look down at the floor. Not as traditional, but definitely works more with gravity. We get that, just that nice little rotation through the neck stretch. Press down, down, and out through the outer blade of the right foot, and then reach from that right armpit, opening up the side ribs. Opening up the right side of the body, we're opening up the liver. This is a fire organ. This is a movement used to promote more energy and a sense of feeling more alert. One more inhale. When you're ready, relax that top arm to your side waist. To safely come up, let's push off the leg. Keep a bend in that left knee and slowly come up. Let's pivot at the heel, turning both toes forward, and maybe just step into the feet for a moment. Let the hips sway a little. When you're ready, find that still point. Outer edge of the left foot lined up with the edge of our mat. Let's pivot on our right heel. Toes will be just off the mat. Bending the right knee, let's angle the tailbone back towards the left heel. Left hand to the hip for support. Either right hand on the thigh or come down, right elbow on the thigh. And again, coming down really low does naturally create more sensation in the hip. Let's press into the outer blade of that left foot. Press down and out through the foot. Feel a little bit of a lift and opening from the rib. Sort of gauge, where is that happy place for the body as we bend the right knee and then begin to slowly straighten the leg, noticing any sensations that shift. So it's very common when we straighten that right leg for the sensations to become a little more magnified in this side of the body, in the left side. If it feels less for you, it's just the way the body is interpreting it. It is more common though for it to create more of a stretch anatomically. Now find that place. Where is there too little? Where is there not enough? Can we work to feel something in the pose, physical sensation in the posture? Eventually come to a still point. Option to take that top arm straight up to the sky or even overhead. So there's this active stretch that moves from that left hip through the side rib, all the way reaching through those left fingertips. Now maybe imagine that somebody is pulling on your hand and at the same time you're pressing down into the floor. So we have those opposing energies to create equanimity in the body. We can look up, straight ahead, or down. Exaggerate the breath. Inhale. One more time. Let's slowly lower the left hand down to our left hip. Bend through the right knee. Slowly coming up. Easy does it. Don't want to irritate any ligaments or tendons. Let the hips shift a little. Let's turn our toes forward and walk the feet in, finding any expression of mountain that you feel is going to create balance for your body. Our standing balancing pose today is a standing half moon. We've practiced this in the past using the wall, and we've also practiced it using yoga blocks. So I am going to use a yoga block today in my standing half moon. You can practice half moon a couple different ways. So I want to show you what I consider to be the safest way, and then we'll look at the progression of the pose. For me, the safest way is to stand just a little bit away from a wall. So I'm standing probably just less than a foot away from the wall. I want to have space to be able to lean back into the wall. So from wherever you are, we're going to take our feet to about the width of our yoga mat again. What we just did, so this is a familiar foundation for the body. We'll pivot on the left heel and turn the toes out, again, familiar to the body, bending our knee. And this time, instead of coming down with the hand to our leg or thigh, we're placing the palm of the hand on the wall. And then we'll shift off that right foot. And it's a little bit of an outer thigh press, an abduction, good old abduction from jazzercise days. Let's keep that gentle bend in the left knee. Option 2, come down to the floor. You can lean back into the wall, hands free, support of the wall. And then maybe have that yoga block on the floor. From here, we press down into the block and then rotate through the rib cage. Option to extend that top arm. You could use a chair here instead, maybe even an elbow on a chair seat. So this is our first way to express the pose, the safest way. You can hold it here a little longer. We want to be able to experiment 2 or 3 minutes on each side. So hold it here, or if you want to experiment, what you could do is step your side body away from the wall, maybe about 2 or 3 feet away from the wall. And then with both toes forward, we'll take just that, whatever inside leg is, turn it towards the wall with your toes, bend into that knee, and then abduct. So you're opening up from the side instead. Now give your body at least another minute to experiment with this on that same side. At any point, if you're noticing that you're feeling dizzy or out of breath, just stop, stand for a moment, catch your breath, and get into the pose. Getting in and out of the pose is also part of a yoga practice. So the body learns how to shift weight and how to adapt blood pressure. So getting out of the pose is not a bad thing. It's a way to practice shifting, practice transitioning. Get comfortable with changing around a little bit. Let's inhale. When you're ready, slowly reposition. Let's come to our foundation pose of a mountain. If you know that you want to use a prop for the other side, move your props around, starting with the feet at about the width of our mat, pivoting the toe out, bending that knee, shifting the hips back, familiar position for the body, and then slowly beginning that descent down towards the floor. Notice what your back leg is doing here. Let's refine it a little bit on this side. Let's flatten our foot. So imagine you have a flip-flop on, and if you had a flip-flop on and your toe was pointed, your shoe would fall off. So let's flatten the foot. We want to keep our shoes on today. Rotate the big toe down as if you're pulling up through the heel more than the whole outer blade of the foot. So we're going to feel that big toe a little bit rotated in. From here, pull that top shoulder back towards the wall. Press the shoulders towards the hips, away from the ears. Option to extend the top arm up towards the sky. And we might look up in alignment with the heart or down at the floor. Let your body guide you into the expression of the pose. Notice how you feel physically, energetically. If there's any sort of like restriction in the breath, stay where the breath is the easiest for you. Couple more easy breaths here. Remember, you can get out of the pose at any time. That is part of the practice. If you think you might want to try this with the body open to the side, take your time to come out. Stepping a little farther away from the wall, hand into the wall. Whatever leg is towards the wall, turn that toe towards the wall, and then stepping into that leg and pressing out through the side hip. Staying for 5 to 7 more breaths, remembering there's absolutely no rush in this, absolutely no rush at all. And it can feel very different from left to right in the body. So we're going to let go of any judgment. If you notice that it's different, just say, congratulations, I noticed a difference today. Big inhale, and then exhale from the throat. Maybe just one more easy breath. At your leisure, take your time, slowly exiting the pose. Let's step onto both feet. Give the body a little bit of time to feel fully supported by the earth, sensing that support through the feet. Roll out the wrist and wiggle the fingers a little bit. When you're ready, let's take our time and come down to seated, hinging from our hips. We're taking one leg back at a time, lowering our knees. Let's reset our hips in down dog or child's pose. Let your body choose for you. Pedaling through the soles of the feet. We're adding in that kneeling leg stretch. We can stretch the legs without compromising our blood pressure. When you're ready, let's all lower the knees. Take the feet to one side and have a seat back for a moment. If you have a pillow or a blanket you would like to sit on, just a tiny elevation of the hips could be helpful for the next couple poses. Let's move into cow's face pose, Gomukh Asana. take your right leg and walk it under the left leg, or take your left leg in front of the right. So we want to have the left leg dominant. We might let the knee open. It could be both legs. It could be that we walk that left leg all the way over and have the knee centered by the chest, or maybe you let the knees slightly stack. This might be challenging to see because I have on black pants, but here are the knees right here, and the knees might actually stack, or there could be just a little bit of space right here or some overhang of the top leg. From wherever you are, notice if one hip is higher than the other, and if it is, you can add a little more cushioning. You can move your pillow or blanket around to create more of a leveled sensation in your hips. Let's let the left hand rest on that left knee. Inhale, circle the right arm up, reach towards the sky, pull out from the rib and the armpit, press down into that right hip. When you're ready, pat yourself on the back. Let's take our left arm around to the low back, resting the elbows, shoulders. Maybe we bend that left elbow a little more, so you might even be able to reach fingertip to fingertip. If you have a yoga strap handy, you can hold on to a yoga strap. It's kind of like the same motion you would use to like dry off your back. So you can have a strap between the hands and kind of wind up that strap or pull the energy of the arms in closer, just making sure that the shoulders are comfortable. Let's lower the head a little bit. And as we inhale, pull up and out from that right rib. Option to close the eyes. Let's give a little bit more character to the breath. See it as this bright white light, like a white cloud or vapor energy. And as you inhale through the nose, watch that energy float into the upper right lung. Having a deep sense of the breath when it exits, noticing where does the exhale come from? At what point do we sense the energy rising to open or to leave the body? Opening the throat to release the breath. One more easy breath here. To safely come out of the pose, let's slowly release our arms. Slowly moving that left leg away from the right, switching out the dominant legs. We're walking our left leg behind the right ankle, or the right leg goes in front of the left. And take advantage of all of these different ways to express the foundation with the feet, hips, and knees. There are a lot of moving parts getting into the seated foundation of cow's pose. A little bit of space between the knees at all times. Again, we can have the hips elevated. If one hip is really high, shift around a little bit and try to shift that hip down. So if your right hip is really high, put extra cushioning under the left hip so that you get that shift of energy to stabilize the pelvis. Let's lengthen through our spine, right hand resting on the right leg. Inhaling the left arm up, reaching dynamically while that left hip stays pinned down to the floor. Inhale. Exhale, gentle tap on the back, allowing that right hand to go back and around. We might be reaching fingertip to fingertip. Exaggerating the length along the left side of the body. Breathing mostly into the upper left lung and lower the head. Visualize the breath. It could still be a white light. It could, on its own, it could change. You might see any color in the spectrum of the rainbow. So just notice if maybe the body reveals its own shade of color with the breath. Have a sense of the exhale. Open the jaw, open the throat, release the breath. When you're ready, let's release our arms. Relax the shoulders, relax the legs. We can straighten them out in front of us and shake off the knees. Let your body move in any natural way. We're just going to work out any fidgety energy from seated before we lie down on the floor. Notice if you need maybe a little more wiggling through your toes or your ankles, maybe a little bit more twisting. We all have very unique lives and unique things that we do during the day, so surely we might need something a little different to get comfortable. When it feels right for you, take your time to lie down on the floor. We're rolling onto our backs again. Using something under the head and neck for support. Let's feel that the chin is down towards the chest. From here, we might want to place the hands on the floor. Let's cross our left leg over the right leg. Walk the right foot towards the center of your mat. We're moving into a twist. So we have this crisscross leg, which is what we just did in cow's face pose. We're going to add in a little bit of a hip twist. When you're ready, push into your right foot. We're twisting towards the right, leading with that left knee and hip. You might feel your left shoulder peeling off the floor. That's okay. Encouraging that left shoulder to stay back. Maybe even take the left hand out with the palm up, encouraging a bigger stretch. Let's look to the left. We have this active rotation, wringing out the spine from the tailbone, through the navel, all the way up through the neck and the head. Let's close our eyes and breathe comfort, breathe peace into the stretch. If this feels comforting to your body right now, stay a little longer. You can do the other side later. If you know your body wants to move, please take your time to bring the head and the neck to neutral. Then slowly begin to take the legs to neutral, uncrossing the legs. Let's walk our feet to center, tailbone to center. Moving into that twist on the other side from a centered place. Let's take the right leg over the left. Walking the left foot to the middle of our mat. Pushing into that foot, we're twisting towards the left, leading with the right hip and the right knee. The right shoulder might peel away. That's okay, as long as there's no pain. If there's any discomfort in your back, take that right shoulder in hand by your waist. This could create a little more comfort. To increase sensation, usually we open that right arm with the palm facing up. And we'll turn and gaze over the right fingertips. A couple more easy breaths. When you're ready, take your time, head to neutral. Slowly bringing the knees to neutral. Let's set the low back down on the floor. Reset the entire spine, drawing the knees to the chest. Option to open the knees really wide and lift the feet into happy baby. Maybe even reach for your feet or toes, adding in a gentle rocking motion, just bringing in a little bit of a playful energy into the practice. Let your body move in any way that will prepare you for relaxation pose. As your body feels ready, you may want to extend the legs or keep the knees bent. You could take the feet out wide with the knees bent and let the knees fall in towards each other. This is a way to take tension out of the lumbar spine and out of that sciatic nerve region. Once we feel ourselves comfortable, let's place both hands on our belly today. And let's feel for the breath low in the body. We might notice the breath creeping up into the chest. If we do, just know that that's what the body needs right now. Eventually, the breath is going to settle into the center region of the body, and it will become more and more shallow as we relax. The bigger breath is not always the better breath. If you're still noticing any tension in your body, take in a big breath now and hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now let it go. And let all the tension, let any stress that parts of the body might be hiding, just let it go. You could always try that again, taking in one big inhale, hold that breath. Hold it for as long as the body permits. When you're ready to let it go, letting go of the breath and allowing the body to let go of any stress, any tension, any residual energy that could be between us and relaxation. Let it all go. Eventually softening the whole body. Relax your jaw. The lower lip is going to relax away from the top lip. And for the next few easy breaths in this simple meditation, on every inhale, breathe in, absorbing the sound ah. As we exhale, hearing from the mind the sound ta, without making an audible sound, just simply chanting rhythmically ah ta. Inhaling the sound ah into the body. And then exhaling, there's this intent of a ta that leaves with the breath. Noticing an effortless, easy breath in the body. Let's continue to relax. Inhaling ah, exhaling ta. You might want to stay here just a little longer, depending on where our bodies are in any moment. That relaxation response can trigger. So for some of us, it's sooner than others. Give your body time to experience complete ease, complete peace and relaxation. I encourage you to stay here up to 10 or 15 minutes so that the body can reprogram itself and get used to feeling peace. Thank you for joining me today with your hands on your belly or maybe up on your heart. We can close here together. Let's draw in a unifying breath and exhale from the throat. Namaste, everyone. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy your beautiful week. And I'll see you all again very soon.